once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping, tapping at my chamber door.
Sir or madam, forgive me, for I was napping. Now all of a sudden you came tapping on my chamber door.
'Tis some visitor tapping at my chamber door. This is it, nothing more.
Distinctly I remember, it was in bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I sought to borrow from my book's secrets of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. Presently, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating.
Tis some visitor entreating at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more.
Out into the darkness, peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there was spoken, the whispered word.
Lenore.
This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word.
Lenore.
Merely this, and back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before.
Surely that is someone at my window lattice. Let me see, then what there is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more.
Open wide I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obscient made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mane of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing. Soon that ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore.
Thou, thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou art sure no craven, ghastly grim, an ancient raven, wandering on the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore.
So just share it with me.
Quoth the raven. Now the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he uttered, till I scarcely more than uttered.
Other friends have gone before. On the morrow you will leave me, as my hopes have flown before.
Quoth the raven. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed by an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the turf floor. Once more on the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking, fancy unto fancy, thinking that this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore, meant it croaking.
Prophet, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert isle enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilly? Tell me, I implore.
Quoth the raven.
Prophet, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven stretched above us, by that God we both adore. Tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore.
Quoth the raven.
Be that word our sign in parting, bird or fiend.
I shrieked, upstarting.
Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door.
Quoth the raven. Now the raven, never flitting, still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out the shadow that lies floating on the floor will be lifted nevermore.